Blog Talk Radio.
Mr. Mark Radulich, and this, of course, is one of the most popular shows reviewing albums track by track at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night on the internet. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom. And tonight we are not necessarily reviewing a metal album as such, as we are looking at the wide, wacky world of industrial music. We're bringing Uncle Al back on the show. Yes, Al Jourgensen. He's got a side project. He's got a million side projects, but he's got specifically a new side project called Surgical Meth Machine. We are going to break it down track by track. Joining me, of course, is my co-host. He is the Metal Coop, Mr. Cooper. How are you doing, sir?
I think there's a Carcass song about how I'm doing right now. Captive Bolt Pistol. I think that one will do.
So I understand you have listened to this entire album. You have a lot to say about it. You've broken it down thematically. You've broken it down musically. Why don't you go ahead and tell us all your thoughts on all the songs one by one. Go.
Well, I'm currently on track number 4. What I've noticed is that it seems that Al Jourgensen, as I told you before we started, did that thing where you overslept. You got 2 days until your exams. The big paper's due that night. You bend over, you pull down your pants, spread your butt cheeks, and just let your defecation go all over the paper, and you turn it into the music producer. Because I really feel like this is a bunch of shit on the wall.
You have not actually heard the entire album. You only heard up to track 4.
I'm on track 4 now, and why is that? Because today I was typing things up and shitting on a keyboard, because a lot of things you do this week. And I pop my head up and I see a guy in a suit. I'm like, oh fuck me, it's a Jehovah's Witness. So I'm like, how's it going? He's like, hey, I got this bottle of. He's like, thanks for talking to me. Hands me this bottle of Spick and Span. And I'm like, okay, this should be interesting. It's like, I'm with Kirby Vacuum Company. Would you mind if I come inside there and give you a demonstration of our vacuum? I just need a few square feet, really. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'd get $25 just for showing it to you. I'm like, all right, man, I'll help you make $25. This shouldn't take long.
Were you held hostage by somebody faking to be a vacuum salesman?
See, that's what I told my mom. Yeah, I let a vacuum salesman in. She's like, you stupid motherfucker. That's how they case people's houses. I'm like, really? And then I mentioned later that his supervisor came to make sure he was doing a good job. And she was like, his supervisor wouldn't fucking show up. Great, now there's 2 of them. If we get robbed, I'm kicking you out. I'm like, I was just trying to help a guy make $25. And here's the thing, I thought this would take 20 minutes. It took 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my God, that's some demonstration.
Yeah, it was. And it turns out it was a $2,500 vacuum. It was. Yeah, it was.
What was the company?
It was metal. Kirby. Kirby.
Okay, hang on. My wife needs to now come on the podcast because apparently she had like a reaction to this. So speak up. Go ahead.
Kirby vacuum cleaners are what they use on cruise ships, and they're blue and they have cute little faces on it. And I always wanted them just because it has a little smiley face on it.
Is it worth $25?
God, no.
How much was it?
It was $2,500.
No, not at all, but it's cute.
Okay.
See, this one didn't have a smiley face, but it did have apparently 3 lifetime warranties. So that was that was nice. Yeah, the guy started he had to unpack the box and then unpack all the attachments, get them in their spots, then get the shampoo thing and get that set up. He fucking used every hose ending, cleaned my fan. He dusted. He did everything, and then he's like, actually, what's the dirtiest place in your house that doesn't get cleaned? I'm like, probably the living room. He's like, no, it's your bed. I'm like, huh? So the dude brings this vacuum, which comes apart, by the way, and does different things. And he's picking up fucking dead skin cells and shit just all throughout this. I'm like, huh. You don't say. He's like, yep, this actually goes through the sheet and it sucks 10 inches into the mattress. I'm like, that's interesting. And then shampoos the carpet, and it took for fucking ever. But he was a nice guy. I hope I don't get robbed. I hope he got his $25.
Falling for that Kirby. Falling for that Kirby vacuuming scam.
Yeah, that's what it is. He was like, hey, man, do you need a job? We're looking for people. I'm like, as nice as that would be, Lowe's is trying to kill me, so I already have one thing that wants me dead. Yeah, because it's, I got a story from that. But, yeah, the dude was a big metalhead, though. That was cool. He's like,
but hang on one second, because, okay, I get how you let somebody into your house so they can case the joint and rob it. What does that have to do with you not listening to the album?
Because that took up the time that I was going to spend listening to this album. Because once I was done with that, I had to write papers and meet with people and then, go get dinner, then do chores that I didn't do while I was supposed to be doing chores and instead listening to a vacuum cleaner salesman pet my cats. Yeah, I listened to him. Didn't watch him, just listen. So pretty much everything got backed up. It is very much like just dropping a big old deuce. Everything got backed up, and it just wasn't pretty.
So, okay, aren't you terrible at school and not going to be a very good teacher? Yeah,
that's what I was talking about earlier. They were like, yeah, you're a really great guy. You're really nice. You're you're really helpful. You really want to help the kids learn. You're just not a good teacher. I was like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
So, all right, I want to bring.
But you say that about all the good ones. Don't take it personally.
All right, you're just yelling for no reason now. Talk into the mic. You don't have to yell.
Where it is.
The mic is it's this whole area here.
But anyway, they say that about all the good ones. Don't ever take it personally. Most of them just have their heads up their asses.
Right now, Melissa's doing lines of cocaine.
No, I'm not.
And drinking heavily. Drinking whiskey, doing lines of cocaine because she realizes that being a teacher is a total waste of a career and that she should have been an accountant.
Yeah, well, I told them, look, guys, I'm not really that comfortable teaching. And then one of my instructors went, yeah, I did see you at Lowe's. You were a lot different. You're really confident. You know what you're doing. You ask all sorts of questions. He's like, you really seem nervous teaching. I said, you don't fucking say.
So do you have any words of advice for him, Melissa? Since apparently, being a teacher is like being a Marine, apparently. They try to weed the weak ones out.
Put your head down and plop through.
Would you encourage him to still be a teacher even though he was told he sucks on ice? He was told he was the worst teacher.
I don't know if I encourage anybody to be a teacher anymore because let's be honest, I have a master's degree and I get paid like I work for McDonald's and not $15 an hour.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I don't even like teaching that much at this point.
I don't know if I'd encourage anybody to do it.
Would you encourage him instead to be an accountant?
No, that sounds boring.
Or would you? What should Rob do when he grows up? This is fucking radio. You have to.
I know. I don't know.
You can't just go and then there'd be silence.
I don't know. You tell him what to do when he grows up. You're good at telling people what to do.
Have you considered dealing drugs?
Uh-oh.
There's no there. She's exactly right. I am very comfortable telling people what to do. Whether or not they listen to me is a whole other story. I
don't listen to anybody.
Both her and my dad the other day because like 2 or 3 times I asked them which what we were trying to figure out what was wrong with the electric in my backyard, and I was saying, hey, do I push the red button here and the on the breaker switch, and after the 3rd time I asked, do I push this red button? And no one was listening to me. I screamed out, someone answer me now, I'm going to set this fucking place on fire. And both her and my dad looked at me like, what? What are you getting so excited about?
Yeah, apparently I found out that I give incredibly terrifying death glares when I'm angry. I was scared. I legitimately worried one of my advisor, because I'd been listening to them. It was my cooperating teacher, supervisor, and my advisor. And the cooperating teacher was pretty much saying, look, he's not a very good teacher, but he's really trying, and he's a really good guy. I think we should at least try and see if we can get him a degree. And they were like, you're just, you're putting your feelings in this. But I'm sitting outside, and I'm trying not to listen, but I'm slowly getting more pissed off until the chair pops her head out of her door. She's like, yeah, I know you're listening. Go sit outside. So when I finally get in the room, the first person I see is my advisor. When I lock eyes with her, she's like, what's that look for? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, that's actually scary. I'm like, sorry. Just been seething out there,
You're
I'm like, I've been told I get. Yeah. I'm not. Well, I mean, I am skinny, but I'm still a pretty big guy. Yeah. She's like, you scare me a little. I'm like,
I never said skinny. I said scary. You're a big scary white guy.
I am a big scary white guy. I am what I am afraid of coming into a movie theater.
All right, let's get on with this. So this is an Al Jourgensen side project, as I said before. I believe Ministry is now dead, and this was sort of the next thing he wanted to work on. I'm just going to read right from our show description tonight. Surgical Meth Machine is an industrial metal album by Al Jourgensen's project of the same name. It was released on April 15th, 2016. The album was conceived by Jourgensen and engineer Sam D'Abruzzo as a tribute to the late guitarist Mike Scaccia, who Jourgensen called probably the best shredder guitar player who walked this planet. To this end, the project was planned to resemble the song Side Effects, include Mikey's Middle Finger, TV4, from Beer to Eternity, which we reviewed on the Metal Hammer of Doom, and it was a shit album, with all songs clocking over at 220 beats per minute. The project changed direction, however, when Jourgensen moved from Texas to California and got a medical marijuana card. According to Jourgensen, after this, the record seemed to slow down considerably. I'll go ahead and second that, because half of this sounds like they tried to record it while doing meth. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Spun, but it reminded me of the music of Spun the musical. And there's a handful of songs on here that actually resemble music. The rest of it looks like he just showed up to the studio while they were mixing what used to be a rock and roll album and just went crazy with a bottle of whiskey and a shotgun. I don't know what the fuck's going on in some of this album. So we're going to break that down tonight. If you'd like to give us a call and join in on the fun, it's 323-657-0901, 323-657-0901. We may get a visitor here, hither and thither, later on in the show to help us break this down, because, boy, the more people, the better on this one. But if you want to lend us your thoughts on Surgical Meth Machine, that's the number to do so, 323-657-0901. We'll take your calls. The last time I gave out the number, we had people calling in for our Slayer review, and we all know how that went. So If you're going to troll us, please come up with something better than your standard gay joke. We already had that. It was funny one time. Come up with something better this time. Make fun of Rob for being a terrible teacher. That's always good humor. Make fun of my wife for being a teacher. That's even better. Ow! You all heard that. She abused me.
Well, don't worry. Yeah. I have plenty of stories of me with women to talk about while we burn time.
Okay. All right. Speaking of my wife hitting me, this is our first track on the album, and it's terrible. It's called I'm Sensitive.
Hello, folks. It has come to my attention lately that I am sensitive.
I'm very sensitive.
Apparently, I'm so sensitive that I read your little Facebook comments and actually take them to heart. And some of them are very, very cruel. And I must say, this just leaves me blank and empty, making me very sensitive to your comments.
I'm very sensitive.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I've decided to change tactics. My new way of interpreting your rants against my person is to just say, I don't fucking care! Well, I guess that just means that for right now, I guess I don't fucking Keep talking shit! Doesn't bother me a fucking bit! Keep talking shit! I'll just unfriend you, and then I quit! I don't fucking care!
So that's literally the whole song. All right, not literally. That's figuratively the whole song, because the whole song is twice as long as that nonsense. I got to thinking about this album, and I was talking to Jed of the Casual Heroes today about Ministry, and he actually had a very funny quote. He goes, "The legacy of Ministry is that if you start talking about it, it'll only go about a few minutes long before you end up in an even longer conversation about Nine Inch Nails," which I thought was rather funny. I think the exact quote was, "A 4-minute conversation about Al Jourgensen turns into a 20-minute conversation about Trent Reznor." But I was thinking about the legacy of Ministry and their albums and such, and I feel like, kind of like with Metallica, where they had a sharp departure after And Justice for All, and they kind of got back to its what would have been its spiritual successor with whatever the last album was called. I do not remember it anymore what the name of it was. But that last studio Metallica album with the fellow from Suicidal Tendencies, I believe. I said that was sort of the spiritual successor to And Justice for All. I was thinking about A Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, which was Ministry's follow-up to The Land of Rape and Honey. And I was thinking specifically about the song Thieves. And Thieves has that sort of start-stop momentum to it. It's got that heavy reliance on samples. The next album, Psalm 69, I thought, musically was Ministry's peak. Easily their best album, certainly A couple of the albums that followed were on the weaker side. I like the Bush trilogy of albums, the G.W. Bush trilogy of albums, but the ones bookending those that came after Psalm 69, not nearly as good. In any case, where I was going with this was, I feel like the Surgical Meth Machine is sort of the spiritual successor to A Mind Is a Terrible Thing to Taste. It was sort of a lot of thematically a lot of the same kind of things going on with this album. Let me go ahead and go over to you, Mr. Cooper. I was just talking about how I feel like this is the spiritual successor to A Mind Is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Now, I don't think you've heard a lot of old Ministry, so I'm gonna throw that all to the side and just kind of get your fresh opinion, because I don't think you go way back with Ministry. I think your introduction to them goes as far as what I've introduced you to. So it'll be interesting to hear sort of your perspective on this, especially since you like a lot of noisecore. So what was your thought here on I'm Sensitive?
It's a good thing to be back, by the way, yeah. I don't know.
I was napping while you were gone, thanks. I am a professional. Go.
It's weird. I got booted. I don't know how. Anywho, good job, Mark. Gold star. Anywho, yeah, this song was interesting because I feel like unlike the Now I'm Up to Track 10. Fuck me, this is horrible. Up to track 10, at least this song seemed to have something to it. Like, yeah, most of it sounded like drunk redneck monologue, but at least it sounded like maybe something was coming out of it, unlike most of these tracks where it was just like, I'm going to sit my butt crack on a keyboard. Like, that's really just, it sounded like somebody playing a piano with their butt cheeks. It was, ugh.
Look, I can play my synthesizer with my butt. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Yeah, God, most of this album is something that, I think it'd be something that Trent Reznor would be really sad about. Because in terms of Ministry,
I'm gonna go ahead and finish up, and then I wanna bring something else here onto the podcast real quick.
Okay, because I don't have any past with Ministry. Like, the only Ministry album I've listened to is that one that we listened to that I was like, God, that album blew. So me and Uncle Al aren't exactly the best of friends.
Okay, so I have here an article from loudwire.com. It's actually it's a very new interview with Al Jourgensen as he was out there promoting Surgical Meth Machine. And some of these questions deal specifically with certain tracks. So let's go right to the first one. This is Joe DeVita talking to Al Jourgensen about Surgical Meth Machine, and Joe DeVita asks, or states, I'm sensitive seems like an obvious jab at today's PC culture, and you pinpoint it in social media in this song. Do you see oversensitivity getting any better as social media continues to balloon and become more pervasive? And this is what Mr. Jourgensen had to say. So, well, I'm glad that you're reading very deeply into it, but for me it was just a matter of how I hate being on fucking Facebook. Watching all the little spats and just watching my daughter go like on Facebook and like who she unfriends and who's your friend. So this is yet another cranky old Al album. This is like an all-encompassing trajectory in her life. Just like, oh my God, am I popular here? Am I popular there? I don't fucking care. Well, you shouldn't care. You're a million years old, and your daughter is probably in high school, you tart. And then she tried to get me to go on this Facebook nonsense for a while, and I just found it appalling that our collective mentalities have been digressed and diluted to this point of just like, this is the most important thing in a lot of people's life. This from the guy who abuses heroin. I just found it insipidly funny that I was even on it for a few months and I'm not on it anymore. It's just like everything's so fucking sensitive, you know what I mean? All right, so you heard my reactions. I'm going to keep it to that. Go ahead and react to that, and we'll play the next track.
Actually, something that's really funny about it is that my best friend and I were just literally having a conversation similar to what he was bitching about, 15 minutes ago, because I was trolling the dating sites. And somebody said that they were hetero-flexible.
Wait a minute. Come on. Which dating site?
Okay, Cupid.
Go on.
I know. Yeah, it's actually weird. I saw this cute girl from high school that I think she's cute. Love to talk to her on Match.com. Because I have a profile that I don't pay for it because I'm a bastard. And I was like, I think in order to talk to this person, I would have to go through Match.com because if you Facebook message someone going, hey, baby, I just saw you on Match.com, but I'm too cheap to go talk to you there. How you doing? I don't think that one would go very well.
No.
But, no. I was like, well, I'm ponying up some cash. But anywho, Plenty of Fish is still the worst. Jesus Christ, it's the fucking worst.
Is it worse than Tinder? Because I've heard Tinder is the worst.
Am I the type of person to go on Tinder, Mark Radulich? We know better.
Well, hang on. Well, no, wait a minute. Now, I've talked to many people about this whole Tinder business, and there are people who find relationships on Tinder. Yes, it's used mainly as a hookup app, but I've also found people who they were looking for dates and they found them on Tinder. So maybe that's what you need right now. You need a little Tinder in your life. I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, we played track 2. They actually made a video for this song. This might even sound like music. Don't get crazy, right? This might be a musical number. This is Tragic Alert.
Tragic alert. Tragic alert.
Systematic desensitization.
Watch my head? Oh man, you better watch your brain. Because 24 hours of very much stuff before that is
Tragic alert. Tragic alert. Tragic alert.
All right, like I said, if you've heard very old Ministry, like Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste era Ministry, most famously from that album, Thieves, second most famously, Burning Inside, you can definitely hear a lot of similarities between Surgical Meth Machine and what they were doing there. I'm going to stop for a moment to pause for the cause and bring on the third man of this unit. Not an official part of the show, but he's always he's always a fun guest to have. He was our referee for the cover show, and he mistakenly, almost tragically, gave the win to Robert Cooper. Frankly, I think he was paid off. This is the host of Source Material, the comic book podcast, and a pretty cool fruit who really knows where his towel's at, Mr. Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Man, you guys know what sucks?
Vacuums?
Can you hear me?
Women's right.
Vacuums. Vacuums is exactly where I was going. Coop, you're too nice of a guy, man.
Yeah, I kind of did let a random stranger in my house to vacuum my carpet and chill for 2 hours, and I gave him some Mountain Dew. Only because I wanted him to get. I kind of felt bad for the kid and wanted him to at least get $25.
I know, man. I know. Trust me, I've been there. You get burnt once, and usually you learn. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 times, but at some point you just got to tell them no, and it's tough to do that. It is tough.
That's what they say about herpes.
Yeah, okay, if you say so, sir. But yeah, man, cannot. I totally identify with your pain there, man. So I hear you. I'm sorry it took 2 hours to get him out of there. It's only supposed to be 20 minutes, but so he made about what $10.50 an hour there.
I was like, he's making like $12 an hour or something.
There you go.
Hey, I mean, technically, that's not bad. Even though I asked him, so is every salesman's dream coming to that door to a half-naked woman? He goes, actually, down the road here, cute, really hot redhead in her bra and panties. Then her husband was there too. It was like, well, better luck next time, buddy. Better luck next
Uber
time.
driver instead. Apparently having sex with your Uber driver is the thing.
With your Uber driver. Is this
Yeah.
Is it unspoken like happy ending for the Uber drive or something?
I give you a happy ending.
You pay for now. I give you a happy ending.
I don't know, man. I heard the thing. I've seen lots of articles. Google sex with Uber driver, and don't hit images because that'll take you a whole other direction. But
hitting images.
And stuff, from what I understand, it's a cultural thing now. Jesse, let's talk about the music for a moment here, just a small moment. You got to hear some of this Surgical Meth Machine. You decided to be on the podcast tonight. I don't know how much of it you heard. What did you think of it so far?
I have listened to this album twice. This is definitely something that I am not used to. This is not in my wheelhouse, so I'll be learning a lot, I know, from this podcast. But I can tell you that the second time around, I enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it seemed to grow on me for some strange reason. It just sounds like at first it just sounds like a bunch of like random shit just put together in a sandwich. And then the first bite you're like, yeah.
Sandwich.
The first bite you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can handle this. But then the second bite you're like, okay, I'm kind of liking it.
I was saying to Coop before, and to the audience that, you know, Ministry relied, especially early on, heavily on samples and noise, and they had a very start-stop tempo. You know, industrial. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but industrial music came out of the idea. The reason why it was called industrial was a lot of bands were doing some experimental stuff with music. Like KMFDM, legend has it that their first show was a bunch of vacuum cleaners plugged into distortion pedals.
We're back to vacuum cleaners again.
What can I say? They blow. Just like Uber passengers.
Blow.
Oh, man.
Anybody? All right, never mind. Any case, so industrial music has this long storied history of people trying different things and using items to create interesting sounds. I remember I actually went to one show. It was D something or other.
Chuck D?
Don't tell me. I'll eventually remember the name of the band.
D's Nuts.
Maybe? In any case, it was a German band. And one of the things, and they literally had like a pipe laid out and on a stand, and they were hammering on the pipe to add to the drumming. So good. So it was interesting stuff there. So this sort of harkens back to the ye old days of industrial. Unfortunately, a lot of industrial also doesn't sound like music. So that's sort of the downside to all this. Let's go ahead and play the next track here, and then I'll get some information there from Mr. Cooper. This is I Want More. That one's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Again, it actually sounds like a song and not just, him hammering on a synthesizer and drum machine like a 2-year-old. Cooper?
Coop?
Oh, sorry. That was a better song than it should have been, considering what it's surrounded by, because, quite frankly, it at least had an interesting guitar hook to it. But, yeah, I would put it in the it didn't suck category.
Yeah. I'd put it as one of the better songs on the album, in my opinion. I think this... well, I mean, there's a couple other ones I'd put, and granted, Coop, you ain't got past track 4, right? Because
no, I've listened to all of it. I've listened to all of it at this point.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, this is one of those kind of top-heavy albums for me, where I enjoy a lot of it at the beginning. Where we've had a few of those on here that I've been on here with you guys, but there is more that I enjoyed at the beginning of this album than there is at the end. And this is one of the ones that I would say that, just like you said, it sounds more like a song. And that's probably why, for me, as to why I enjoy it. But that's about all I can really add to that. Let me ask you guys a quick question. The closest band that I can think of that sounds anything like this, and you guys tell me if it's in the same genre as industrial or not, is Static X.
You guys, Static X, I would say, is one of your more modern industrial metal bands. Some other ones were like God Lives Underwater. Sister Machine Gun. Kind of going all over the map here. I'm trying to think of something that you might actually be familiar with. I don't think Mushroom Head actually qualifies. I think Mushroom Head was more of there's 97 people in the band genre. I'll have to look up some like modern industrial bands and see how many of these you recognize. But yeah, Static X would definitely be one of them. And they in turn covered a song by Ministry from the Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, and they covered Burning Inside, as a matter of fact.
I didn't know that was a cover.
Oh yeah, Burning Inside is You've never heard the original Burning Inside?
Sir, I'm afraid not. I always thought that was a Static X song. That's awesome.
Oh, boo, Jesse Starcher, boo.
I hear you.
Funny story about that. So, I'm working for XPW/Extreme Associates.
Oh, no, not again.
I like these stories.
And we're working with Lazy from Danzig, and who was the bass player at the time. And shortly after he sort of came on board as part of the wrestling company, and he ended up managing Sabu when he worked with us. It happened to be that Static X, there were Dope, and a third band whose name I do not recall were playing at the Palladium in Hollywood. And I was like, we're doing a show at that venue. So I went up to Lazy and I said, hey, I don't know if you can get me into that show, but if we've got flyers, I'll go, I can get into the show, I can see the bands, and then I can pepper the place with flyers, try to get some of that crowd to come see our show. And I got ridiculed for bothering Lazy of Danzig, trying to get me into a show after he was, part of the company for 20 minutes. But he did, in fact, get me in to see the show. No flyers because they were not made up in time. So I got to see the show for free and not have to work for it. And I was really tired. So I sat on one of the speakers that were on the floor and proceeded to take a nap. And I slept through most of Dope. Woke up, slept through... No,
wait.
Slept through the end of Dope.
You slept at a concert?
At a concert. Slept through...
That's not new for him.
Dude, I thought podcasts were one thing, but a fucking concert's a different thing. Damn, dude.
Oh, no, all you have to do is talk to my friend Paul, who won't go to a concert with me anymore because I've fallen asleep at too many of them.
That's fucking insane, man. That's crazy.
So I'm sitting on a speaker. My head is against the wall. I've slept through most of Static X, who I think of the three bands that I was there to see, I did not care as much for Static X. But I woke up because they started to play Burning Inside, and even while I was asleep, I could hear I could hear they were covering Burning Inside. I immediately woke up and jumped in the mosh pit.
Man, I don't understand, dude. There's like something medically wrong if you fall asleep at a concert. And I do see the fact that you brought up you fell asleep by a speaker.
On top of it, I was sitting on top of
the speaker, dude. I don't know. That's not normal. Do you think that's normal, Coop?
For Mark Radulich, I think so. I think
all right, then.
Since he burned himself out on going to concerts in his youth, he's just like, well, it's another concert. Time to sleep. And then as soon as he hears a song that he wants to, what do I smell? Mosh. And just immediately hops up and jumps into the mosh pit, picking up change, doing windmill kicks, punching people in the mouth. I mean, hey, this went a lot better than the last XPW story I heard.
I remember that one. I do remember that one.
Ghostbusters is coming back, so that's the good part. But,
not everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably my favorite story ever. And it's still really sad that episode of the Three Beards never got posted. R.I.P. podcast.
Well, yeah, shit happens. All right, so that's a great introduction to our next track. This is track 4, Rich People Problems.
There's some funny shit in some of these songs.
All right, so some cleanup here from our last story. The headliner on that show that I slept halfway through and then only woke up for Burning Inside was Power Man 5000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got to see/snap through Dope, Static X, and Power Man 5000 at the Palladium in Hollywood, California. And God bless the internet. I literally I found that out by typing in Dope, Static X, Palladium, Hollywood, 1999. And boom, there it was.
God bless you, internet.
God bless you, internet. So let's go back to Loudwire here. They actually bring up, on Rich People Problems, there's a real bright melodic solo on there. Did you intentionally do that to tease the second half of the record? No. Actually, what you're saying, that actually makes sense. I didn't consciously do that, but I'm really proud of that solo. I like that solo. It's kind of a throwback type of solo, almost like a Lynyrd Skynyrd or Robin Trower days or something like that. I don't know. It just popped out of me one day, and we decided to keep it. I tried a couple of other different solos, but that one seemed to fit best. What do you think about that, Coop? Do you agree? What do you think of the solo?
Coop?
About that?
God damn it.
Coop, are you awake, man? You ain't falling asleep, are you?
Oh, God, no. No, I was awake. I was reading something, and then I realized that Mark was reading something.
That's like feedback or some shit.
What did you think of the solo, you dipshit?
Oh, the solo? Oh, solo was actually a pretty fucking sweet solo. It was very nice from the fucking atonal monotony that is this ass, like fucking dirty ass wipe of an album. God. Like, this is like a used piece of toilet paper, I swear.
Wow.
So you're not
Coop's not impressed. He is not impressed.
No, I'm really not. That's the sad part, because I'm like, damn it. I wasn't looking forward to this, listening to it. I'm like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, Mark. You know how to pick them. You're like me with women. Yeah, which I never finished that story, speaking of the PC. The PC-ness of Al Jolson. No, not Al Jolson. Why?
Al Jolson?
I'm still terrified of that man.
Why are you terrified of Al Jolson? My wife and I, we had some Al Jolson at our wedding, as I recall.
I know. We brought this up before, and you were still very confused. Him in blackface scares the bejesus out of me.
Why?
I don't know. It's creepy. Like him as Mammy.
You know black people are going to mug you. Because today you were nearly assaulted by a white person with a vacuum. I don't understand why you have to hate black people.
Yeah, I see what you're doing here. But anyways, what I was doing, that's funny. I once did give a black guy that was homeless a ride, like a fucking 10-minute ride down the road, and gave him $5 because I'm just that good of a guy. No,
Why
I did.
No, hobos? Dude, I'm gonna have to talk
know.
with your mom.
No, my mom doesn't know about that one.
She doesn't know
Like
what
if
you
she
think
knew
of
I had
hobos.
a hobo in her, if she knew I had a hobo in her car, I'd be dead.
You shouldn't have had a hobo in your car. What's wrong with you?
I just get all of a sudden at my door, I hear knock, knock, knock. What was that a hobo about in my car? No, it's Mama, Slayer. I don't know. I just didn't want to say no to the guy.
Wait a minute. You still haven't, answered the question. Why did you have a hobo in your car? What possessed you to do such a thing?
Because he came, he's like, hey, man, you got to ride somebody. He's like, no, I can't do anything. What about you, man? Dude, pat me down. I don't got a knife. I don't got a gun. I just need a ride. I'm like, all right, man, that's okay. And my friends turned around and went, oh, no. Did he just say yes? So I said yes. Well, I did make sure to let him know if he fucking tries anything, I'll speed the car up. I'll kill the both of us. I was like, I don't fucking care. I'm like, I'm not in the car with you. You're in the car with me. And he was like, oh, man, no, dude, I ain't going to do nothing. I'm like, that's right. If you make them think you're crazy, then you're okay. But so my friends are following me, and we hit a stoplight, and I kind of looked in the mirror, and my buddy waved. And the exact quote from this is, I bet you $5 he tells them that we're behind him. And I was like, I did. He's like, what you grinning about? I'm like, oh, my buddies are behind me. Yeah, I was about 19 at this point. I'm still not the brightest light bulb when it comes to saying no to people and not being naive. But God damn it, I learned my lesson that time. Because then when I dropped him off, he's like, hey, man, can I have $5 for a bus? And I'm like, it's a little much. All right. I should have learned my lesson. I should have learned that one time. This guy asked me for $1 at Christmas, and I pulled out my wallet to give him the $1, and he went, you got $5? And then I'm like, sure, man, it's Christmas. So
they take it. People are going to take advantage of you, man.
And he went across the street to the liquor store. And then I was just like, oh, man, he has a wife and family. What the fuck? So that's what I learned. Never, ever, ever give them anything. Take out your wallet. Kind of like I've learned.
Figure that out.
Because I never really worried about it. I don't fucking know. I'm an idiot. So anywho, yeah. So I tend to learn these things the hard way. But anywho, what Al Jourgensen was talking about with the PC culture. So yeah, okay, Cupid, dating site. I'm like, okay, hetero flexible. I'm like, I think I can figure out what that means. All right.
What?
All right, hetero flexible.
Hetero flexible, you say? Wait. I need to know what does hetero flexible mean.
That is something new on me. I've never heard of that in my life.
See, I didn't either. Let me Google this just to make sure, because
don't Google images.
When somebody told me they were pants.
Track while you Google, hetero flexible.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so this is my goodness. This is track 5 featuring Jello Biafra, formerly of the Dead Kennedys, currently of his own spoken word albums, and once a mayoral candidate for the city of San Francisco. This is I Don't Wanna. We could talk about Jello Biafra and his history with Ministry. We could talk about how Al Jourgensen wants to get with Jello Biafra again and do another Lard album. Jesse, you ever heard of Lard?
Never.
You should.
Say Lard?
Home. Yeah, Lard, L-A-R-D.
Oh, that doesn't sound appetizing.
Lard is great. That's the power of Lard! Wake up everybody in my house. But, yeah, pure chewing satisfaction and the power of Lard, fucking amazing. Anyway, we could talk about that. Or we could talk about, well, what did you call it? Flexible sexual?
Flexibility. Being hetero-flexible. So it is exactly what I thought it was. It means that, like, you're straight, you're, like, mostly straight, but sometimes you're, like, a little gay. I shit you not. It's like, huh. Like, they're just a little gay. They're mostly straight, though, man. It's totally cool. Yeah, she described herself as a hetero-flexible, and then what she was looking for was non-monogamous short-term dating. And I'm like, what the fuck is that the nice way of saying I want to just fuck people for fun?
Yes, clearly.
I was like, God, I think you said queerly. I'm like, I don't know, just a little queerly.
Go back to hetero-flexible. Is that like you bang chicks, but if Ryan Reynolds wanted to bang you, you'd let him?
Pretty much, that's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, okay. I've had some weird ones. Like, I was like, okay, demisexual. I'm like, so you're attracted to demigods? No. Okay. Pansexual. Are you attracted to goat men? No, that's not what that was. I was like, sapiosexual. I'm like, huh? And that was the one that made me laugh. That apparently means that you're attracted to people only by their intelligence and not by their looks. And I'm like, that is so fucking pretentious. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it's funny because I'm a fairly liberal guy. I'm accepting of things, but I'm like, I don't know how to fucking process some of this because I'm like, I keep learning about new sexualities every day, and I'm like, I'm still a straight white man. I know I'm the enemy.
So I think, by the way, I don't think Ronnie's going to do another podcast with me again.
That's a very good possibility.
Who?
Let's play
Ronnie,
a track. Let's play a track here, and then Jesse can tell you why I may have scared Ronnie off of doing another podcast with me ever again. So this is Smash and Grab. Okay, that was retarded. Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, let me just first off, dang it, we're already at a point where we're divided. That was one of my favorite songs on the album. Just go ahead and throw that out there. I'm not trying to be divisive or, contrary in any way.
I don't know, maybe if I'm wrong about this, maybe one of your children is like a prodigy, but I feel like that would be like Caleb trying to play a musical instrument.
It almost starts out like some of the stuff that I've listened to that I'm used to that has that kind of sound, that, deep industrial guitar, I guess, since I have no idea what it is, but it's almost the one song that on this album that sounds familiar to me, that I can dig it. But my favorite song on the album, just throwing it out there, I won't go any more into it. Now, as for Ronnie, Coop, Ronnie was the guy that hung out with us on the first Vinland Saga.
Yeah, I know about him.
Okay, so we did a podcast last night on Civil War, and we've recorded it. Folks, be listening for it. If you're a comic book fan, it'll be showing up on Monday, May 9th, I believe. May 9th. So anyway, Thor shows up in the midst of this podcast, or in the midst of this particular book, and just out of nowhere, Mark Radulich goes, "Gay." Now that should. All right, so things kind of spun out of control. Mark, there are a couple other instances. I can remember we talked about Black Goliath showing up. That kind of went off the rails there.
I really offended Ronnie until I said people can go into whatever bathroom and pee that they want. That seemed to have been important.
Oh, man.
And I really wasn't trying to offend him. I like Ronnie. If Ronnie was really offended by anything I said, I apologize, Ronnie, if you're out there. That wasn't the point. But the transgender bathroom thing really does bother me. And I'm pro pee where you like to pee. I'm okay with it. I'm not anti-transgender. I'm not anti, transgender should be forced to use a bathroom that goes against what they believe they are. And I don't believe every transgender that uses the bathroom will also attack your child. But I've just been in constant arguments with people about it. People that I'm in a chat with, like Gavin, the Casual Heroes, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, it's such a hot topic right now.
Yeah. So I think so it's just because it's there and it's on my mind. I just said it without realizing that he might be one of those people. And he's a perfectly nice guy. He seems like he swings, I guess, somewhat more liberal than maybe I thought he did.
I wouldn't say he's hetero-flexible. I would say he's he's just straight up hetero. That's just my opinion.
Okay. In any case, I said it and I could actually feel like the temperature in the virtual room change.
Oh, shit, Jesus. Fuck. No, Ronnie's a good guy. He knows not to take you seriously. That's probably for the best anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like he's said anything to me afterwards or anything like that.
Did you get unfriended?
I'm trying to be funny.
Did you get unfriended on Facebook?
I'm not unfriended.
Okay,
still friends with Ronnie.
Didn't we cover that with the first song here on this album?
So sensitive. I'm sensitive. All right, Cooper. I don't even know where we are with this. Smash and Grab, I Don't Wanna featuring Jello Biafra, OK Cupid. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Say something, anything, Cooper. Talk.
Al Jourgensen Can't Melt Steel Beams.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember that time I got blocked by somebody on Facebook. I think the only person I'm actually blocked by is Jeff Harris.
Oh.
And it makes Robert Winfrey's conversations really weird.
Yeah.
I would just be like, who the fuck are you talking to? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was because that time he came on the fire. It was because that time I was like, fuck you, you fucking asswipe. It was because I was really mad. I don't know why. And Mark was like, holy shit, you're angry. I'm like, I don't know. I've only podcasted with the guy once.
All right. So this next track 7, I've been sort of speeding up just to get to it because I find the song hilarious. It's not good, but it is funny, and I want to hear all of it. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Now, we are trying to abide by the law and by the BMI ASCAP, so we only play portions of songs so that, I think I may even playing a little bit more of the song than I'm supposed to, but still not playing more than half the song. Playing less than half. I think I'm within the law as far as being sued. However, I am going to go ahead and break the law this time, and I'm going to play the entire unlistenable track because you need to hear the whole thing. And if Al Jourgensen decides to sue me because of it, well, then I'm going to say something about it on Facebook. So here it is. This is unlistenable.
Silence is deafening.
Yeah.
That's a
by now.
So unlistenable that you actually cannot hear it.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. This is a fucking joke, right?
hand. Now place your left hand here. I object. Well, I object. You take what? Now raise your right hand. Now place your left hand here. Now raise your right hand. Right hand. Now place your left hand here. Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here. I object.
Absolute shite, crap, feces that they're calling music.
Well, dude, what about Iron Maiden? They're pretty cool.
They're fucking unlistenable.
Well, what do you think about Megadeth?
They fucking control.
Dude, did you hear the new Lamb of God?
Oh, boy.
You are a hater. Well, here's a band everyone loves to hate. What do you think about Nickelback?
Nickelback! I wouldn't give you a penny back! Fuck you! They suck! Unlistenable!
Well, Al, I know one that you're definitely gonna love. How about Ministry?
Ministry? I hate fucking industrial bands. Feces. Absolute good fucking riddance.
Alright, Al, clearly you're not in the mood for metal, so let's switch it up a bit. What about The Cure?
Fuck are they?
How about Morrissey? I'm sure you like it.
Morrissey? Morrissey? You're fucking kidding.
Dude, any love for Devo?
Devo? They fucking rule!
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Let me go right to the article here. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Coop, are you alive?
Fuck Al Jourgensen.
All right. It says
putting him in the same fucking boat as Nickelback, asswipe.
All right, take it easy. Let's hear the man out now. On Unlistenable, you take a lot of shots at bands like Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Lamb of God, and then you take a shot at Ministry. Is the whole song tongue-in-cheek, or are you actually taking a little bit of a shot at modern metal? And here's what Uncle Al has to say. Now, see, that one is not as personal. It's like they are sensitive or just a personal thing with me and my daughter. Everything is about his daughter. At just looking at the prevalence of fucking Facebook again, in people's lives. This one was more of an overall statement as opposed to personal, being more like there's just these haters out there. Also, once again, from what I witnessed on my Facebook day, oh, for fuck's sake.
Wow.
It's just people hating on everything. There's always something to hate. Okay, I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on Facebook to promote the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. I'm on Facebook to promote parties that I'm throwing, and I feel like I'm throwing a lot this year. I rented a water slide today. So I'm always doing stuff on Facebook, and it has to be like what you're bringing to your Facebook page, because I don't see a lot of hating on mine. I see a lot of news, a lot of weird news, but for the most part, I mean, I would say what I see in my Facebook feed is I don't think it's negative or positive. It's just there. It's just this is what's going on in the world. But yeah, he has got what a bug up his butt about Facebook. So essentially, he wrote a song called "Unlistenable," where he takes a shot at modern metal, and it's basically it's not a shot about modern metal. It's about people who hate music. It's like, maybe you shouldn't have been on Facebook, Grandpa.
Well, okay. Let me just go ahead and say that I don't know this Uncle Al from, good Stephen Marsh. This is, when I listened to this particular song, I thought it was completely tongue-in-cheek. I thought he was just goofing off, and specifically the fact that this particular song is made it sounds completely butchered and then kind of put back together like you killed a cow and put its head at the ass end and its legs up where the neck was. I mean, it's so jarringly unlistenable to someone who is used to I guess regular metal. So I saw it on two levels. I saw him being just kind of goofing off, and the other level was by making the song as unlistenable as possible. I did not take it as something that he was taking shots. This guy is from Ministry, correct?
Yes, sir.
This guy is Ministry.
He is Ministry. So obviously he wouldn't be, I wouldn't think he would be doing that, was taking a shot at his own band or whatever.
No, I heard it and I thought it was, first of all, I don't think Surgical Meth Machine is a good name for it. I think this should have been Uncle Al, Uncle Al Yells Get Off My Lawn. Would have been a better title. Nothing? All right.
Yeah, get off. Uncle Al's Surgical Lawn Service. Get off my lawn or I'll remove your face.
Uncle Al's Krabby Tracks. It's just a lot of yelling about Facebook on this. And I didn't even realize that at first. With the I'm sensitive thing, I thought that was sort of obvious, even without having read the Loudwire article. But for like rich people problems and unlistenable and some of these other ones, I was just like, it just seems like with all the fame and fortune that he's had and drug addictions and and the family that he's surrounded with, he's like never happy. We talked about this, I think, with Megadeth and some other bands that we've reviewed over the past couple of years about how they're complaining so much about the world. And listen, Donald Trump just ran the gambit of primaries tonight. There's a lot to complain about in this world. Hillary Clinton, who should be up for federal indictment, is probably going to be the Democratic nominee. There's a lot to complain about in this world. Robots are taking people's jobs, and we're arguing about transgendered people going into different bathrooms. There's a lot to complain about in this world. But some of these people come across as still in a bubble, and they're complaining about shit that doesn't need to be complained about, or they're doing it in such a way that doesn't seem it doesn't. I don't know if real is the right word, but I don't identify with any of these artists and their complaints. I always want to like shoot back. I'm like, what are you complaining about, rich person? You know, this is sort of like my feelings about Conor McGregor coming out now. Like, stop whining. When you paid $1 million to fight and promote, go fight and promote. Save that for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly, when he was like, yeah, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm not paid to do all this shit. I went, shut the fuck up. All you do is run your mouth, and you're really popular because you run your mouth. So now you're complaining that they're making you run your mouth. I mean, though I do love his analysis of radio shows because that was fucking hilarious. Like I forget what he said, but it's the Who Gives a Fuck Radio's channel, and I'm like, that's great, that's clever. But now he's like, yep, they put me back on, and UFC's like, no, we haven't. I'm like, this guy's a fuck nut. Like, okay, he lost the fight. I understand that can make you really want to get back serious on training. I get that. But they were about to fucking take everything. They pretty much were doing the equivalent of, we're going to bring your room to college with you. We're going to take everything and bring it with you so you don't miss a single bit of training. He's like, no, I don't want to travel. And it's like, you know, I mean, you're the champion. You're known for running your mouth. You're good at running your mouth.
Not forgetting the
now you don't want to. And now you don't want to run your mouth. Well, it fucking sucks for you, buddy. You should have been more boring.
So anyway, Jesse, any thoughts on this? Anything you want to add before we go on to the next track? Jesse?
Don't tell me you're reading too, Jesse.
All right, let's go ahead and hear this Devo cover. This is Gates of Steel, originally by Devo, as covered by Surgical Meth Machine. Jesse, we were wrapping up on Unlistenable, and then I just played the Devo cover, Gates of Steel. Why don't you go ahead and, if you had any last thoughts on Unlistenable or what we were talking about, go ahead and speak on it. Otherwise, you know, tell me your thoughts on that Devo cover, which actually sounds like a real song.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Tommy, I can hear you.
All right, okay. So, first off, the things that we have to worry about that you listed off, that is almost verbatim what you post on your Facebook almost every day. Robots are coming, and then politics. Unfortunately, I spend way too much time on Facebook to understand what everybody else posts. But the other thing I wanted to say is that, folks, you can adjust what is coming into your feed on Facebook. Just in case things are getting you down, you can unfollow somebody and not unfriend them. Remember that. I've done it plenty of times.
I have a good friend. We were good friends. He doesn't really talk to me anymore. But I had a good friend. I used to do podcasts with him. And we're still friends on Facebook. And theoretically, we're still friends in real life. But I had to unfollow him on Facebook because he was one of these people who didn't have an unpublished thought.
There's those out there.
I know it might look like I post a lot, but I try to just rephrase post news items that I think people should be aware of. And at one point I was going to stop because I thought one of my friends was criticizing me about it. And I was all sensitive about it. So
you got sensitive.
I'm sensitive. So I put up a picture of Carl, I think it was, from The Simpsons, because it's just like Carl doesn't talk much. And I said I wasn't going to do it anymore. And people were like, no, we like the stuff that you post, and, we have a problem with it. We usually speak on it, but for the most part, we don't find you tremendously annoying, and we like what you post.
For Pete's sake. Fucking just unfollow somebody. I mean, that's exactly what this guy should have done. He should have just unfollowed you. That should have been it.
I know people have unfollowed me. I know people have unfollowed my dad, who posts a lot of his stuff in the Democrat Party here in Tampa, and he's kind of obnoxious about it. And that's the thing. You can absolutely unfollow. I unfollowed Gavin for a while, and then I started refollowing him again because he started got less annoying. I mean, I don't care that you enjoy snow. Good for fucking you. I don't need to know that.
I love snow too. I always like those posts. Those are my favorite.
The ones where he's happy it snowed in West Virginia. Good for they're super.
Oh goodness.
Anywho, so I had to unfollow one of my friends because he would if he was hungry, he posted something. Every thought he had to go up on Facebook, and it was just overwhelming. I don't need to know all this stuff. Occasionally I'll go back and look at his feed to see what's going on with him and sort of passively stalk him.
Just kind of check up. It's called checking up, Mark. You can do that.
Yeah, it's passively Facebook stalking.
Facebook has made things a little unhealthy, and I'll give you a perfect example. This morning, my wife, it was actually this afternoon, my wife was really upset about some stuff that's going on with her sister, who obviously they're Facebook friends, and she continues to see these pictures that she doesn't want to see. It's not like nudes or anything like that, but there's stuff that's popping up that her sister posts, and it really upsets her. And finally today I said, Mindy, you've just got to unfollow your sister. I said, give me your phone. I'm going to show you how to do it. And it seeps into your daily routine, and you get upset over shit you don't need to get upset about and you don't need to see. And unfollowing somebody, oh my gosh, when I unfollowed like 2 or 3 people, my Facebook feed was so much nicer, and I had much more of a pleasant day.
Right.
So somebody tell fucking Uncle Al how to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the algorithm also changes based on what you like and don't like. There's a girl that comes up on my Facebook feed all the time who's friendly. I'm friendly with. We used to work together, and because she's constantly putting up selfies and I'm constantly liking them, she comes up all the time. Other people whose stuff I don't particularly react to, I barely ever see in my Facebook feed, if at all. So, I think the message here with Surgical Meth Machine is the album's okay, but someone should have gotten to Al before he made the thing and just showed him how to use Facebook properly. Maybe introduce him to Twitter. Maybe Twitter might be better. All right. Unlistenable, Gates of Steel, Twitter, Facebook, OkCupid. Robert Cooper, are you still awake?
That's interesting. I've never heard of that dating app. Apparently there's one that's like Tinder, except it's where the woman has to message first, which is interesting. Because, for example, I was just telling a friend of mine, I think I've messaged about 30 girls over the past week. Want to guess how many responses I've gotten?
0.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, I am doing a podcast on a band called something about meth machines. Yeah, I am doing that on my night off. So there you go.
Are you trying to tell me how you want to spend your evenings, not hanging out with me and Jesse Starcher? Because that cuts me deep.
I'm making jokes, Mark Radulich. It's okay. I love you fellers. In fact, I don't ever get to talk to any of this bullshit with anyone. Well, except for my friend Nick, who's like, Coop, you're an idiot.
Sometime you need to get him on the podcast.
I know. I do need to get him on the podcast.
All right. So here's what I'm going to get on the podcast. Track 9. This is Spudnik. reaction to that or commentary. Let's just go to track 10. This is Just Go Home, and boy, I wish we could.
Why? Just take a few amphetamines and you can be like me. Or freak apart considerably by taking LSD. Sleeping pills are beautiful. Hell is king. Everything is clearer now. Just let me do my thing.
Techno clubs before, and it's a lot of sampling. I think one of the most famous ones that I can recall that people might have actually heard of is James Brown is Dead. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before, but go Google it. Yeah, when the show's over. James Brown is Dead. Very famous techno song, dance song, and you can do like heavy drum beats and sampling and all of that, but it still has to be danceable. I think that's a big part of my problem with this is that a lot of it is like it just seems like they're just fucking around with a drum machine. This is the kind of stuff that me and my friends did when one of our friends got a new drum machine and we were experimenting with it. It's just I don't find it danceable. I don't find the music to be easy on the ears. It just seems like I said, Angry Al drunkenly playing with a drum machine and saying, "Ha, music, art, I love it." So, what do you guys think?
Coop, tear that one up, man.
Honestly, that sounded like the most sad excuse for techno since that time. I was in a rush, and I bought an album by this band called Cold. Because my friend said, "I'll give you $5 if we leave right now." I did not get those $5. What is it with me and being out with friends and just either declining good offers or not receiving the good offer? Anyhow, maybe it's just because I need more homeless people in my car. But yeah, I listened to that album and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is one of the most miserable, horrible pieces of butt sludge that I've heard in a very long time. So I ripped out the sticker and sent it back and traded it back into them. I hope they took it, and it's probably still there because it was the thing was called Merciless and the album was called Cold, because apparently that was that time in life where everybody in the 90s had to do something that wasn't metal, or that time a few months ago where I bought an album by a band called Falconer, which is not the band called Falconer from 2000, but some freaking ED, electronica project from 93. I kept waiting and waiting for the metal to show up, and it never came. Very much like a man with erectile dysfunction. It just never came. So, yeah, I would equate this album to something like that. I was waiting for something to happen. We got two good solos, and then it was just I think I'm done. I think those two good solos were what he prepared before, 2 months before the paper was due, and then he went and freaking shot up heroin or something, and then 2 hours before he's "Oh fuck, give it drum machine."
Yeah, I this song is just invokes like an image of some dude tripping on something and popping this in and like laying back and then having like fucking horrible visions or something. I mean, I don't know. You know, what sucks about like playing these songs for this show is usually you kind of know of a good stopping point. Okay, we'll stop it after that first little chorus. What the fuck is the shit that we just listened to? There's nothing. It's just random shit. So just go home. He should have done fucking went home.
All right, let's draw a close to this. We have 2 more tracks here. One of them might actually sound like music, and then we'll go home, as it were. This is Just Keep Going, which we don't agree with.
Just keep going. Keep going. Going. You'll get used to it in time. Make you feel super good. Super good. Psychedelics. Make you feel dynamite. Dynamite. Super dynamite. Dynamite. Super.
And let's just go right to I'm Invisible and close up shop. That's what I can take of that. All right.
Oh, man. What a journey.
I wish, we started doing the show a couple of years ago, and we've now had 2 attempts to review something related to Al Jourgensen, a Ministry album, and now Surgical Meth Machine. And, at some point I'm going to have to do like a Ministry retrospective and show you people what it's all about. Because Ministry used to be really good. It's one of those bands that, it was a big part of the high school experience and to a certain degree college. And while they never really rose to the heights of Psalm 69 again, It's a seminal album. It's an amazing album. I encourage people to go listen to Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed and The Way to Suck Eggs. NWO is an amazing song. Watch the video for it if you haven't. Like, when this podcast is over, go listen to Burning Inside. Listen to Thieves. Listen to NWO. Listen to Stigmata. Listen to Live Stigmata, because that's even better. Just give Ministry a chance, because if you were to just go on From Fear to Eternity and Surgical Meth Machine, you would assume Ministry sucks, and so does Cranky Al. But, you know, Cranky Al used to be young heroin-using Al, and young heroin-using Al was awesome. Cranky old marijuana-smoking Al with a teenage daughter who's on the Facebook too much, not so much. So that's all I have to say about this album. I'm going to let you guys have the last word. Jesse and then Coop. Jesse, go.
Okay. Easily, just to sum up, similar to what you had said, it sucks getting old. All right. I don't know much of the history that Mark just talked about, but clearly it sounds like in his heyday, this guy knew what he was doing. I enjoyed, like I said, the first part of this album, and just as the freaking wiki says, the record seemed to slow down at the end of the record. Once he started, I guess he moved over to California and got his medical marijuana card, and it started to slow down a little bit more. And I didn't like a lot of the latter part of this album. But I would say that if there's anybody out there that wants to try something new, you just heard a little bit of each track, and there's a lot more to each track, because the way it starts out, some of these tracks start out, things take a turn, and it just gets weirder and weirder as the tracks go on, and there's some humor in the album. So my suggestion, let me go ahead. We got to do a rating system here. All right, I'm going to give it, I got 5 stars. I'll give it 2.5 out of 5 stars.
I'll give it a C.
Coop. If I'm gonna rate this thing, it's gotta be a 2 out of 10. Like that'd be like what, 1 out of 5 stars. There's like maybe 1 or 2 salvageable solos here, but this kind of reminds me of that lovable dog that you have that you're really fucking tired of. You know, that got old and you're just tired of him dragging his worm-covered ass across your nice white carpet. Like, I know I've been making a lot of defecatory allusions tonight, but Jesus, this album is just bad. And it's annoying because I know Mark loves him some Al Jourgensen, but this is the second album that I've listened to from this guy that I've been like, ugh. Like, that is just... It is. It's like walking out on your grandmother naked. Like you don't want it to ever happen again. You regret ever experiencing it, and quite frankly, you're kind of queasy, and it maybe has just ruined all sex for you for a while. Like I honestly just need to go put my head in a bucket of Megadeth or something. That's what I'll go do. I'm gonna do that because this is probably one of the worst albums I've heard since...
Wow.
Well, I would say the last Ministry album. That at least had a little bit going for it. I think maybe that shitty Falconer album that was some fucking electronica side project. Because at least the other time when I bought the wrong album, it was this alternative country project that at least had some, it had character to it. I was like, oh, there's some interesting shit here. But no, this is probably one of my least favorite albums I've ever heard. There's just nothing really to it. It just sounded like some cranky old bastard who is really, really tired of electronic things that aren't his music and just wants to go sit in a corner with four fucking double A's and a Game Boy and cry.
First track of the next Surgical Meth album will be Unfollowed.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do right now. With Sympathy from 1983 is a dance album. Twitch starts to go a little industrial, but still kind of dancey. If I played for you them and then played for you Ministry, you wouldn't, and didn't tell you who they were, you would not think that anything from With Sympathy or Twitch was the same band as what they got after. 1988's The Land of Rape and Honey is the first seriously heavy industrial Ministry album. It features the single Stigmata, and it's fucking amazing. It's so good. If you're just trying to get into Ministry, there's no better place to start than almost the beginning, and that's with The Land of Rape and Honey. In 1989, The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. The two big tracks from there were Thieves and Burning Inside. If you listen to nothing else, listen to those two tracks. They peaked with 1992 Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed and The Way to Suck Eggs. There were a couple of singles from that album. Jesus Built My Hot Rod is a fun song. Scarecrow's amazing. NWO is like one of the best songs ever written. Psalm 69 itself is a fun song. You might not think so when you hear it, but it is. It's great. And then the next three. It's like without a muse, without a Bush in the White House, Ministry lost its soul. It lost its mojo. So the following albums, Filth Pig, Hey, Your Pig is Filthy, 1996. It's okay. It's not great. Dark Side of the Spoon is one of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life and made me ashamed to be a Ministry fan. 2003's Anima Satestamesta Samanina is okay. It's better than Dark Side of the Spoon, but so is Getting a Root Canal. And then we get to the George W. Bush trilogy, which is Ministry rising to almost its finest. Houses of the Mole, Rio Grande Blood, and The Last Sucker really pulled Ministry out of the doldrums. That's 2004, 2006, 2007. Just really great albums. I wish they had stopped with The Last Sucker, because I don't remember Relapse being very good. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and meh. That was released in 2012, and that's the one that got 99 percenters on it, which is an okay song. It's just kind of, again, there's no Bush in the White House. It's just kind of whatever. And then finally, From Beer to Eternity, 2013, is some sad shit. So just do yourself a favor. Don't listen to Surgical Meth Machine. Don't listen to the last two albums of the Ministry. Just listen to The Land of Rape and Honey, The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, Psalm 69. Skip the next three albums and go right to the George W. Bush trilogy, and you'll have the best Ministry there is to offer. And that's my final word on Ministry and Surgical Meth Machine, and I just want to go home. I feel like Randy from South Park. I've been raped in the ass, and I just want to go home. So speaking of raped in the ass, Coop, you want to go ahead and give your plugs?
Sorry, you made a pretty good sodomy joke there. I got really worried because my phone died. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me put it on an hour and a half. Okay, so plug besides this podcast. Of course, I have another podcast, the Hentai Having a Fun Time podcast, that I like to call the Sentai Writer Podcast. So it's almost here, boys and girls. That means maybe we'll do something. That's what I said last summer. But I feel like this summer we're really going to do it since we have like 320 likes. So even though the last post I made, I think only one person saw it. You got to try. So I think we're actually going to try. So coming this summer, we'll probably be reviewing the Sentai Zhuozher once I catch up on it, because I'm like fucking 10 episodes behind at this point. Yay, life. So there's that. The Wrestling to the Max podcast, as well as the WTM Network, which is my friend Sean Garmer's stuff. You can find that at Spreaker.com/WTM Network. And then finally, last week Jesse Starcher posted what was part of our Vinland Saga podcast, the one that survived. That wasn't me talking about women. Good time. But go listen to that. We've got like 7 listens total on that, and I have a feeling it's going to be your lowest rated episode ever, since everybody's like, what's this? I don't know what this is. Let me listen to it. Well, fuck.
Don't trust those numbers, because what you're looking at is the last 7 days, and it's been more than a week. So it's showing you 7 listens in the last 7 days. I think we've got a little bit more than that. I'm hoping, at least last time I checked.
Blog Talk Radio, please bring back all-time listens.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking all over for that. I can't see it. I don't understand why they got rid of that.
Gone.
It's messed up.
They took it away, and then people complain, like, oh, we'll give it back, and then they haven't done it yet.
Bastards. Yeah, because I want to know how much farther the Nightwish podcast is going to get past Baby Metal. Just because I love to troll Mark with that, because it makes me giggle. But yeah, sometime soon we'll hopefully be doing Volume 2 of Vinland Saga. I'm really looking forward to that. And by the way, speaking of manga that is released in an omnibus format, hey, somebody else just like the Sentai Rider podcast. What's up? Yeah, I just got a manga in the mail today called I Am a Hero, which is, I like to think of it as Japan does The Walking Dead. It's about this mentally, it's about a schizophrenic manga artist who gets caught in a zombie apocalypse, but he's one of the few people in Japan that has a gun.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's. I've read like the first 30 pages. It's pretty good. I'm really looking forward to more releases of it because I don't think it's been released here in America very much. So I Am a Hero. Definitely give that a look if you can. It just got released by Dark Horse Comics. Otherwise, yeah, I'm good. I'm done. That's all, folks.
All right.
Jesse Starcher, plugs, go.
All right. Want to thank you boys for letting me come on again. I know I was unexpected guest, but I always I don't have anything better to do on the nights the Metal Hammer of Doom is on. So, by golly, I come on here and hang out with two. I got one bro and one Coop. You're not a bro, so we'll just call him a non-bro. So
he's got one bro and one Coop.
There you go, one bro, one Coop. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for letting me come on here. Had a lot of fun. I know it wasn't the greatest album, but hey, yeah, I enjoyed talking about it. It was fun. Learned something new. As for myself, you can follow me at
you have a lot of ministry to check out by tomorrow, so get on.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll get right on that. You can follow me at Stiznarchy on Twitter. Just like Coop mentioned, we have a comic book podcast here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network called Source Material. I'm the host of that show, and we bring on all sorts of fun guests. Soon you will be hearing Mark Radulich and Ronnie Adams talk about the Marvel epic event called Civil War. That should be dropping, like I said, on May 9th. You go back into the archives. Me and Ronnie Adams talked Robert Kirkman's book called Invincible. Came out just a little bit before The Walking Dead. So if you guys are Walking Dead fans, oh man, we talked Volume 1, and
I own volume. That's the only volume of that I own.
Dude, if you're ever interested in coming on and talking the subsequent volumes, if you can get your hands on them, because we're not stopping at Volume 1. Tremendous book. But anyway, go back in the archives. You can check it out. Give the Radulich and Broadcasting Facebook page a like. You can stay up on top of all the great podcasts that are out there that the Radulich and Broadcasting Network has to offer. And as far as I know, I'll give a plug to my buddy Ronnie Adams' Screaming Boy podcast. We still got some documentary diaries that we're working on. Last one we did, I mentioned, I think, on here last week, which was about a fun time on Craigslist. So the next one we're going to be doing will be about conspiracies. It's something about the New World Order or some kind of crazy documentary I watched. So anyway, look for that. I'm sure that at some point will end up on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. That's it, folks. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
Anytime. All right. Last week, here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, Robert Winfrey and I reviewed The Jungle Book, and then Prince died. So the whole thing just came to a halt. We postponed Long Road to Ruin, and Pat Mullen, Jason Teasley, and I paid tribute to Prince. That's in the archives. Go ahead and listen to that. Prince will sorely be missed. It was a good show. Follow the same format, basically, as Metal Hammer of Doom. You know, we played songs and told stories. but really had a good time with it, and I thought we gave him a hero's farewell. This week, we started off here with the Metal Hammer of Doom doing Surgical Meth Machine. Tomorrow, Rob Winfrey and I will be reviewing Frozen versus Lord of the Rings, otherwise known as The Huntsman, Winter's War. On Thursday,
Frozen, Lord of the Rings.
On Thursday, Long Road to Ruin will be back at its normal time. We'll be looking at the first part of the Hunger Games. That's the Hunger Games and Catching Fire. On Friday, Rob Zombie, the Electric... What the fuck's the name of this thing?
Oh, yeah. Read this one off.
The Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser comes out. So go ahead and go on your Apple Music or go on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you get your music. Or if you're like Coop and you're a crazy person, go to the store and buy the album. So the new Rob Zombie comes out this Friday. We'll be reviewing it a week from tomorrow. So Metal Hammer of Doom will be at a special time of May 4th, Wednesday at 9 o'clock, because that's when Coop is off work. No movie review because nothing good's coming out this weekend. However, we will be wrapping up on Thursday the Long Road to Ruin, the Hunger Games Part 2, which is Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. Captain America comes out that Friday. Vector Terminal Redux also comes out that Friday. And My Wife Goes to Utah. I don't know why I bothered to tell you that, but I thought it was good that you know. Which means that on Tuesday, May 10th, barring any scheduling issues, we'll be reviewing, this is another Cooper pick, Vector Terminal Redux. Wednesday, May 11th, we'll be reviewing Captain America Civil War. And Long Road to Ruin will be back again. We'll be looking at the Bad News Bears trilogy. So I hope you will all join us for that. And then May 13th, it's the best day of the year. Hate Breed, the Concrete Confessional comes out. Aw, shit.
Time to murder it.
It will be time to murder it, yo. All right, so that's all for now. We got a lot of stuff in the can coming up, a lot of good podcasts, but those are all the plugs for the time being. Thank you for tuning into tonight's show. Wish the album was better, but I don't know. We seem to have better shows when the album stinks, so make of that what you will. So for Jesse Starcher, the host of Source Material, for Robert Cooper, the host of the Hentai Frentai Sentai Happy Go Fun Time podcast on all things Japanese and slant-eyed. My name is Mark Radulich, the mandated reporter. Be well, be safe, and behave.